In addition to that snafu, my technical assistant here can't get the slides moving, so we're not going to have slides for presentations. But that's okay. When you don't have slides, you pay attention to the speaker. All right. I'd just like to start with a couple of comments, and then we'll turn it over to Terry and he'll talk about a few things. You may realize, or have realized, over the last couple of years, the ECCL communications have really gotten top notch. They've been really good and abundant. And I give Alan Bowditch the credit for that. He's the Chief Communications Officer. He, by the way, is now in Dubai. Not bad, huh? We take care of our people. So, anyway, Alan and his crew have really done quite a bit, and Alan's been out recruiting some people, and I just wanted to mention that he did recruit two folks, Heather Bill and Kim Anderson. They're new communications committee volunteers. These two folks have collectively a significant amount of years of communication and reporting. They have experience in business management initiatives, and in our opinion, their expertise is a valuable addition to the communications group. And we look forward to working with them going forward. One of the reasons that we were looking to bring in some more people was because of the changes that are taking place in the ECCL, including a name change, which you all may know or may not know is going to be Engaged Hysteric. That's the name of the ECCL going forward. It's effective on February 1st, but we're all acting like it's going on right now. And we're trying to slowly get things moving, and I'll talk more about that at the end of the meeting. So communications is a big thing. You folks may have heard me say this, and others may have said it. The ECCL or Engage Sparrow is really a communications and media platform. What we are. That's the best thing we do right now for the village of Estero, is get information out. And if you get information out to people, they get the facts, you encourage them to get engaged, and then you have an impact on the quality of life. And that's basically what the purpose of the Engage Estero organization is all about. I'd also like to take a moment to give a little praise to Julie Ellick, who is here. She's the blonde lady sitting there taking notes. Julie came to me several years ago and said, we ought to do something about cleaning up 41. It really looks bad. We've been doing this on our own, etc. Would the ECCL get involved in it? And we did. And that was, I think, one of the best moves the ECCL ever did. Not only did it clean up tons and tons and tons of garbage, literally tons of garbage off the 41. What it did was encourage the village to take that, use it as a template to do something else. And they got involved as well. So ECCL may have started, but the village is very into it right now as well, and I think that's great. So I think Julie deserves a round of applause. And I really the last thing right now, before I turn it over to Terry, is we're recruiting for what we're calling a Community Oversight Council chair. Now, what that really means is its purpose is to monitor, basically, selected public organizations' expected results, ensure accountability, behave responsibly, follow applicable policies, laws, regulations, and ethical standards. And it's all focused on enhancing our quality of life. So if you have know of any people that are interested in doing this, have them call me directly or email me, and we can talk more about it. It's a new thought to put in place, primarily because at one time the ECCL had a community development council, and that council was there to oversee, from a public point of view, community development taking place and even economic development. We decided that really isn't something we want to focus on going forward. going on. And when the village was established 8 years ago, they took on the task of doing that, and they did it well. And they have planning, what is it, planning something design board, right? Planning board. So they look at all those issues. Comprehensive plan helps them through that. So our job is not really to focus on community development, but really to be in a position of doing some oversight for the public. Where did that come from? That came from the survey we did not too long ago, where about folks, I think 900 people responded to that survey, and over again, that's what they were looking for the ECCL to do. More than anything else, be non-political and monitor what's going on and give them advice and counsel and information so that they can take any action they think is appropriate to do that. So that's one of the driving forces behind us as we go forward. So I'm looking for somebody, some people that like to do that, sit down, go to meetings and all of that, and help engage the sterile. And you'll hear me stumble over that for a while. I'm going to say ECCL. Help engage the sterile. Just keep an eye on what's going on and be able to report. This is not an effort to come down on any organizations or any agencies at all. It's just simply a matter of giving facts to people. And when things are going well, we'll applaud them. And when they're not going so well, just let people know that this is what's happening. And if you're unhappy about it, then you ought to get engaged. So on that note, I want to turn it over to Terry. And Terry's going to walk you through a couple of changes that have taken place as well as a part of Engage the Sterile moving it.
Thank you. And yes, it takes an organization to do what we're trying to do, to inform and to build and make things happen. And we've been lucky here in the last 2 months to recruit 3 wonderful people to head our various councils. And the first one is April Palmer, who has taken on the job of the Education Council chairperson. And April is a very unique person because she has a PhD, Doctor in Education from the College of William & Mary in Education Policy and Planning on Leadership. So it's very, very key that she's got the skill set behind it. She has been working, and she is currently working at Florida Southwest University as a student success counselor, which is also very, very key. We want to make sure that that is happening because that's what we want to do about engaging younger people in the community and making things happen and engaging our community with the education activity. But April is very, very passionate about developing those generations and those programs for generation and diverse students. So that works out very, very nicely. And I do apologize for our challenge on the technology. It happens when you pull things out of retirement. They just don't work the way you want them to work today.
Including the technology.
Including the person running them. More importantly, the person running them. The next council that we recruited and added a strong leader to is Jenny Coleman, is the council leader of the Environmental Council. And Jenny is, you might know her because her husband used to work for the village.
No, brother.
Her brother, okay, I'm sorry. Thank you, Jim. Used to work for the village as a past member of the staff. But she's graduating this year from the Bates University Health School of Law with an advanced, besides her JD, she's getting an advanced certification in environmental law. And she has a long history of being involved in a cross-functional area between healthcare and the environment and understanding the activities and the importance of the environment and healthcare. And I think that's very, very key to our community. So she's very passionate about the protection of the environment, specifically how the health of the environment affects human health. And in Southwest Florida, enjoyment of the environment is key for many residents' lives. So it's a wonderful thing. And the third person, Bowdridge has recruited for heading the Health Council is Judy Kessel. And Judy has an educational background in education and media, and actually worked for 7 years in training for Medtronic, a very large healthcare device manufacturer up in Minneapolis. And after doing that, where she had programs and did training programs for their activities, she also did their wellness program for their employees. She then went on, became a successful entrepreneur and founder of Sonar, a healthcare marketing company. And she does what she teaches. She is a certified EMT and a trained phlebotomist. So she is active in the healthcare community. And so she wants to make Estero the healthiest community in the world, and the place to live, a very, very strong place to live. And the last thing I wanted to bring up today is a little bit of a report on the results of the Village Council workshop on the Rails to Trails. And that was a very good exercise. It provided a forum for everybody to put their views and their opinions out into the public and how they felt. And I thought it came across very well and very open-minded about what people were talking about and what needed to be done.
He's referring to the council meeting.
And so, and this was just happened on Wednesday, and I thought that the presentation by the MPO told us what they had seen and what it would take to build the trail. They identified the obstacles that needed to be overcome, primarily legal and outside of the village control, and as well as other people. But also that it would take a significant amount of time to do that and get through those particular activities. And then they allowed all of the sides of the viewpoint to be put out in the public and be talked about. So I think we saw a very strong presentation from Friends of Birds about what they feel about the strength of the council and the activity. And the other was also some opposing views as to how people are concerned about what it will bring and what it will do for our community. So I put it out there, and we as the ECCL actually challenge and want to make sure that more information is brought out into the open about what this project is and what the benefits are to the community and what it will mean to the community, as well as what it will and how it will impact us in the future. So both sides of that have to be brought out and put out there, because none of us, it's all the people in the room that make the decision. The ECCL doesn't make the decision, or the Engaged Estero organization, as we're going to know. But we're working on those three mantras of inform, engage, and look at the impact. So it's very, very, I had a very, very good experience for what was happening there. The next thing we wanted to do, we usually, as part of the information and engagement activity, we try to bring in a couple of organizations each meeting to communicate to the rest of us who else is affecting this particular marketplace and is doing something here to help out the village activities. Interfaith, I did have Nancy Martin with Interfaith Charities, was hoping to be here. I do want to give a plug for them, because we just got to know them through the Hurricane Ian engagement. The ECCL, along with the Estero Forever Foundation, helped raise the $100,000 and distribute the $100,000 to the victims of the hurricane, primarily along West Toronto. And in order to do that, you have to have some professional people being able to go in and interview the recipients to make sure that everything is being done right and making sure that it's happening. They stepped up to the plate and helped us complete over 80 interviews of recipients, and we're now in the process of distributing the checks. In fact, the last 2 days, George Saluki has been distributing the checks, and I will be helping them out a little bit later on this week. And that is good because that money is now getting into the marketplace and helping people. But Interfaith Charities is a nonprofit group that works primarily in the Estero, San Carlos area. They make sure that they run a food bank, and they make sure people have things that they need that have difficulty, and they're very active in the community. And it's somebody that you need to, if you get the chance to learn about them, please do, because they are a very, very good and a very strong component of our community. With that, the next person I'd like to introduce is Troy Bolivar. Troy is the Director for Veterans Success at Florida Gulf Coast University. And one of the things, when I came down here a year and a half ago, yes, sir.
I'll let you finish your sentence, but I just want to know if you're going to have to open the floor for questions.
We will at the end. Okay. I'm getting through this, et cetera. So we'll do the question. We'll have the question and answer at the end. But one of the finds that I came down here a year and a half ago was what a gold mine and what a resource FGCU is to this community. And it's something that we don't realize. And it's a very, and it's unique in a number of ways. But I think its most significant uniqueness is its focus on student success. If you look at Mike Martin's measurements of success of what he looks at, his graduation rate within 4 years is a key metric that they look at FGCU. It's something that they drive on. And it's just not, sports excellence or anything else. It is, you're here to get your degree. That's what you're here for. Let's help you out. Let's get it done. They have things. And Troy is a wonderful addition. He moved from DKE, the Kawanui Entrepreneurship School, over to the main activity. He's a veteran himself. So I'll let him tell you a story. Tell us.
Well, before Troy sets up, do you have any questions? We'll entertain questions now on what we've talked about.
I think, well, the question involved the council, so I can remember showing up and we'd get council reports, several of them. And, I don't see that happening anymore. I don't think this year. And we also had village officials here, so I'm kind of missing all of that. And the one I always paid attention to was the membership council report. Just if you'd like to speak to that, that'd be fine.
Yeah, I will. At the last meeting, I talked about these meetings. Were you here at the last meeting?
Yes.
Okay, so you may recall I talked about these meetings, and that we are in the process of sorting through the best way to get information to our members of the general public. These meetings were good for their time, candidly, and bringing in the local politicians and others is fine, and it's nice to do. But I think we need to break that up a little bit. And one of the things we're doing, and I'll talk about it at the end of the meeting, is we're going to have a series of public forums, town hall type meetings, where we'll focus on a specific issue. The one that's coming up on the 25th of January is on the water quality and environment in the greater Estero area. So these meetings here we're really tossing around what's really the best approach and what's best to get the most appropriate information to you folks and others, because this is being recorded and people look on it online, several hundred actually. So that's where we are with it. We're not saying it's not going to happen going forward, but we are saying we're really taking a deep dive into it to determine what's the best approach going forward. And we're open to suggestions on it as well. On membership, I don't recall that we really did talk a lot about membership. Can you give me an idea what you mean by membership? Is it the amount of people that are members?
Yeah, I recall, very frequent, I think it's the last director, membership director that I recall. I don't know if there is one now.
There is not.
So I can't really tell my people at my association who was here and who's not. I did see the list of the mailing that came from the website, your email, I think it was. I did see that. There's not a lot of detail there like we used to have.
Well, the only detail, candidly, that I think Barry would talk about, two things. Number one, he always looks for people to be on his committee. Never got it, but he always looked for it. And number two, it was basically telling you who were the members, what new members might have come on, maybe what members left, that kind of thing. You can easily see that if you just go online to the website, look under organization, and you'll find all the members listed and who the representatives are there. So I don't know what more. I mean, tell me if you think there's more. But what more we could talk about in terms of membership? Do you have any ideas of what you'd like?
Well, what I'm thinking is that I'm looking at the attendance here today. I'm struggling to find a reason to come to this meeting. I do go online. I printed out printed this out today. And I've read it page to page, so I appreciate that. But not everybody's going to do that. I think it's a loss that we don't have more communication here at these meetings.
Look, seriously, we will.
Try not to be too critical, but
No, I get it. Criticism is good. I know we will. We will consider all of this, but we have to make some determinations as what's the best approach to get information to people. What's the most efficient to do it, and what's the most effective way to do it. So you're seeing some of that flux right now. As I said, I think the reason people aren't here is because we didn't divide them. The emails didn't go out. That's one of the reasons. So, any other questions that you folks have?
thank you for the
Oh,
response.
you're welcome, sir.
Let me comment on the meeting. The plan that I have for the meeting format will be A, information, which is what Jim started off with, and a summary overview. B, the announcement of some major changes in some leadership and to recognize people for what they have done or what they are presently doing and working on. C, to have a couple of organizations within the community, and this is part of the engagement function. The first part is the meeting itself is part of that informed function that we have. Then how do we connect? We want to make sure that we connect other organizations in the community that are part of this community with members of the community at the same time. And that's the purpose of having a couple of those organizations come in and have them tell their story to us about what they're doing within the community and make those things happen. And C is to look at certain projects that are ongoing within the community. Because every one of the councils will have some project or some activity ongoing throughout the year. And that's the purpose of those things. So we are trying to design these meetings to cover those issues and to bring those issues to supplement what goes out on the web-based activities that Alan and Kim Daly put together for everyone. because they do a fantastic job. I mean, we have one of the strongest mailing lists in the local area. It needs to get better. We're having 5% turnover in our community. So when people don't know what's happening, and they don't know how to get the information. And that was one of my challenges when I first moved into the area. How could I learn about this community? And I think the Engage Estero, the future name, is all about trying to do that and help people get that done. So any suggestion on how we do it and get more participation, absolutely agree. How do we do that?
All right, and I think just to thank you again for your comments. But I think that we were missing that face-to-face interaction, and then when the council report is given, there's interaction that comes from the people, and the conversation happens, and that's good input. I think.
No,
That's all I was trying to.
And you made your point. I'd like to just talk a little bit about Troy. Troy is on. Terry didn't mention it, but he is FGU's officer of Office of Military Veterans Success. It was established in 2022. The Office of Military and Veterans Success is fully invested in helping our veterans and military students and their families with the challenges of transitioning from active military to civilian life, and welcoming them into FGCU's exclusive campus. They provide resources and guidance for serving unique education lead to veterans that improve their quality of life and lead to successful post-military career. So, Troy Bolivar, you're up.
All right, thank you. I'm gonna bring my laptop to my go-by. So first of all, thank you all for having me come up here and speak to you guys today. My name is Troy Bolivar. I'm a Navy veteran. I was a corpsman from 2011 to 2016. Served at Naval Hospital Guam and 1st Marine Division in Camp Pendleton. When I got out, I started working on my degree. I ended up getting my degree in entrepreneurship, and I ran our Veterans Entrepreneurship Program for 2.5 years. And then in last December, I started this position. And I'm the first one to have this position at the university, so my job is to essentially build veteran services for the university. And it's great because now I get to implement all the things I learned while going to school and learning how to be an entrepreneur. I get to implement that within the organization to build this. So my mission is to provide military-connected students with a meaningful and fulfilling educational experience while serving as a pillar for veterans in Southwest Florida. So just some overall stats. Last year, we had 362 students utilizing the GI Bill at the university. Not all of those are veterans. About half are dependents. The average age is right around 29. The majority are first-generation college students. And student veterans get a higher GPA on average at FGCU than traditional students. 63% of them are enrolled in STEM majors, and nearly all of them, 98%, are commuter students, meaning they don't live on campus. They live out in the community, so they have to get to work, or they have to get to the school. The top majors are biology, psych, computer information systems, criminal justice, and communications. Based on our past discussions, knowing that many of them are communications majors, and what you guys are trying to do with ECCL, I think there's a lot of opportunity there. Currently, we have 3 established programs for veterans. No, I'm sorry, 2. We have our Veterans Entrepreneurship Program, which is still up and running. Tomorrow actually is the pitch competition, so it's including that program. It's a 12-week program open to any veteran, and the goal of the program is to help the veteran launch their business by the end of the 12 weeks. They get matched with a mentor, they work on a business plan, they get connected with resources and other manufacturing, shipping, whatever their needs are. And then for the pitch competition, they present their business idea to a panel of external judges, so nobody that works at the university, and also have Home Base, which is a health and fitness program, and this is open to either veteran or dependent. Really, if you're connected to the military at all, they'll bring you in. That's located at a place, and they match you with a trainer. And for those 12 weeks, they start by determining what your goal is. Lose weight, be flexible, be a gain muscle, and they come up with a plan for you to help you reach that goal. They also match you with a nutritionist who can help. So that's another great program. And then we also have our Veterans Lounge, which is located up in the library, and it's a space for veterans to do homework, for them to work. Just, that's their space. So since I started, my first goal was to understand the needs. What are the needs of the veterans that are going to school at? I had my guess because I'm an alumni from FGCU, and I went through that process, but I wanted to validate those assumptions and make sure that the student veterans are actually doing the same challenges that I felt. So my first goal was to build a community. So I would start by meeting with the students in the Veterans Lounge that we have. I didn't even know that we had the lounge. In order to just spread awareness, I would meet with them in that room, so that way while we're there, hopefully there's another veteran or two in there, and they can meet them as well. Actually, in April, we started the first registered student organization for veterans on campus, and it's called Student Veterans of America. Currently, there's 45 active members. We do yoga sessions with Home Base once a month. They come out and have Veterans Pavilion and do a yoga session. They do different events like community building events where they'll go to headpins and they'll go to a brewery and just get together. And they also do community service. So there's get together. We'll all get together as a group to go and work with an organization. In April of this past year, I also saw that there's a ton of resources in our community for veterans. However, a lot of post 9/11 veterans don't. These resources are for that. So what I wanted to do is show the veterans on campus that there's opportunities and there's resources available. So we had our Southwest Florida Veterans Expo on campus. We had over 55 vendors. 30 of them were employers who were all looking to hire veterans. So we had Gardner, Scotland, Arthrex, like a lot of larger companies in the area come. And then we also had, and the rest were resources. So Mission United was one of them. We had Star Moms, Gun General, just to spread awareness. And I think it was a huge success. We opened that expo up to the community because it falls in line with the mission. Everything we're doing, we want to welcome the community to what we're building and things like that going on. At the beginning of the year, going along the lines of community, we had our first Battle of the Branches. So this was an opportunity to start the year off right. So the Saturday after the school year started, we just said we're going to have a barbecue. Cheaper, plus, we're not going to make it stressful and go crazy with it. We're just going to have a barbecue. So we got hot dogs and burgers. We told everybody to bring their families out. And we had a bunch of games that we actually did it out here at the park. We had 65 veterans show up to that event, which was a great turnout, a ton of happy families. So that the fact that 65 veterans showed up to that event, and it's really over a quarter of the veterans that have on campus, told me that the veterans want this. They want this community. If we provide them with opportunities to get together and develop professionally, they're gonna come out and be part of it. Additionally, we had right after Ian, I called each and every one of the veterans that we have on campus and just I found, a list of resources that we have available, and then, I just shared those resources with all the veterans. And that was definitely a challenging day because there were multiple veterans that lost their house. We have a single mother, her name is Barbara. She just moved out here after 20 years in the Army. She just bought her home and moved to Cape Coral. And she had her mother living with her who was elderly, and she has her 16-year-old daughter. And Ian rolled through it, and she lost her home. So, we're doing different things to fundraise for her and help her out. Veterans have been going on to their house to open up. So, yeah, and then on top of that, we decided that we wanted to do like a larger event with all the veterans on campus, or invite all of them. So, we invited veterans on campus, veterans from USF, a few other universities, to come down and community come up one day. We had 35 veterans come out from all these different areas, and we ended up helping 9 families clear out their homes. So, and that was the students coming in and saying, we want to do this. We want to what? We want to help. We need to be helping the community right now. So that made me very proud of them. Additionally, one of the things that I implemented is VA Worksite, which is an opportunity for the veterans to work for me. It's tax-free, and the VA actually will pay them to work. So that's a great opportunity. And how I set that up is, I want the veterans to have that meaningful experience. So when they come to me and they say that they're interested in work study, I sit down with them and I talk to them about what they've done in the past and what they want to do in the future, what their interests are. So with that, and then we develop a plan for them for the next semester for what their project will be, what they'll accomplish. One of the veterans, he's an environmental studies major. He said that he wanted to do some sort of trail restoration or something with the trails and organize groups of veterans to go volunteer and help out with that. So he actually found a grant and that paid for opportunities like that. And together we applied for it. And he actually, I'm going to say he was awarded the grant because he did most of the work with that. And so now that grant is paying for the projects that he wants to do on campus. So he's clearing the trails, he's developed, he's putting it's a time-lapse system around different trails and organizing groups of students to get together and help out with that. So one of the things that the VA recommends is centralizing campus resources and giving veterans a designated space. Like I mentioned, we have our veterans lounge in the library, and actually the university gave me some money, so I cleared out all the hand-me-down furniture we had in there. I took down all the posters. There was posters on that room from 2008 when I started. So cleared all that out, and we purchased brand new furniture. We put a refrigerator in there. We had storage space for snacks and textbooks and supplies and stuff that they need. So that space is open. So if a veteran wants to go in there, have a snack or get a drink or Gatorade or something in the fridge. So really, and I've been tracking the usage of that room, and it actually goes back. They were tracking it before I got there, but the usage of that room has quadrupled. There's a graph. You guys can see it, but people are utilizing that room. It's their home base essentially. That's what they need. That's getting together and building friendships and developing professionals. I know for a lot of veterans, when they get out of the military and they start telling people, it's a lonely time because you're in, you're with these people every day, and you live with them, you work with them, you go out on weekends with them, and you get out and you're home, you're expected to figure it out and know what to do. And that can be overwhelming for a lot of veterans. having that space and that community, it's not just me sharing the information. It's the whole group of veterans who I've been working with are sharing that information that they know with other veterans who have come out. So we're definitely seeing success as far as like resource utilization and GPA. So what right now I'm a one-man show, and my goal is to help the veterans from before they get to university. I want to make sure that they have some all the way to until after they graduate. I want to make sure that they're finding a job where they actually enjoy going to work every day and they get paid. So I'm actually in the hiring process right now, and I'm going to be hiring an admin assistant to help out with the day-to-day stuff. And I'm going to be, once that position is filled in January 3rd is the start date. So once that happens, then I'm going to be going out and looking for grants and other opportunities to fund a couple other positions. I've split what I'm doing up into 3 sections. There's inbound transition, there's retention, and there's outbound transition. So with inbound, this is where we're going to start building trust with the new student prior to the university. This person is going to be helping assist and overcome the bureaucratic challenges, because there's a lot of them. And coming in, you don't know what paperwork you need to turn in. You don't know who to talk to. You don't really know how. A lot of veterans don't even really know how to jack. Just need to so with the inbound side, they're going to be walking through that process. In addition, making sure that they're where they want to go, what they want their future job to be, aligns with the major, or aligns with what the major. I feel like a lot of universities overlook this with the certifying part. This position will also be a referral service for the VA disability claims. A lot of veterans don't know how to file, they don't know where to start, so this person will also be able to help navigate that process. We have retention, which this position is actually going to be the first one that I bring in after the admin. But that role, that area is to help overcome the academic challenges and the quality of life challenges. So if somebody's struggling academically, we're going to be getting a notification, and they'll coordinate those services. If somebody's struggling financially or at home, this person is going to coordinate those services. So there's so many things, and it takes time to work with. I've had veterans who call me and they're staying on the sister's couch, and broke up their girlfriend, and that's what they're to find a place to live. And living as a tired, you got to take care of the basin before you can go and achieve the higher performance of life. And then we have outbound. This person will be coordinating career services, bringing employers in. They'll be overseeing the expo and other career development opportunities, and also working with the alumni association. So why is this important? Well, veterans are 7 times more likely to stay within a 50-mile radius. So if they're going to stay in this area, the veterans that we're seeing, they're not going to be, most of them aren't going to be moving away. They're going to stay here, they're going to be part of our community. And employers are more likely to hire them. So that's what I've accomplished and where I'm going. Answer any questions you guys have?
How can we help you?
So right now, one of the things that I'm working on putting together is a mentor system. So if somebody wants to work with a veteran and on a specific industry, the mentor would be there as support to help them figure out how to get into that industry, what classes they should probably be taking, which will actually be helpful for what they're doing, and also if there's any other certifications there. The other area is, I really saw at the end that it's great to have a side pot foundation for emergency use case funding. So Barbara, for instance, having funds to help her through that time. And it went, the university as a whole has an account for that, but one specifically for veterans, because many of them have families that have other challenges that they're trying to overcome, barriers to completing their education. They offer traditional education.
Okay, well, just a comment. We talk about communication and so on. And we have a perfect avenue to spread your word because we have representatives from all different communities in the Estero area. So do you have some little type of blurb thing that maybe we could take back to our community? And we have a monthly newsletter that we could put it in the newsletter just to expound on your service and what you offer. That I think, going back to what we're trying to do with communication, ECCL, Emerge Estero, is what, we're trying to forward the information, because I'm sure there's a lot of veterans out there that could use your service.
I have a little booklet that I'll put over here on the table, but if you wanted to shoot me an email, I can send you a smaller written visual.
It's something I think that would get the information out. We live in Bellaterra, and there's about 2,000 doors in Bellaterra, and I'm sure I know there's a lot of veterans in there, but how many are in the age group or you would utilize your service? Who knows?
Yeah.
But as a rule, one veteran knows another veteran, and so on.
Your email address?
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna make it quick. I just want to remind you and the viewing audience that we are having this water and environmental public forum that has been rescheduled from October 13th to January 25th. You will be getting more and more information on it. We sent out invitations to the people who signed up for October 13th, asking them if they're still interested, we can go to the website and sign up again. We sent it out to our members as well, specific members, dues-paying members, try to get them involved early on, give them the opportunity. And we're going to be sending it out all over the place shortly, bring people in. The last one we had to stop. Because so many people had signed up for it, we had to stop. And that's when we went back to Zoom it. So we Zoom for people who couldn't get into it. So it's very popular. The players that are involved in it, John Cassetti, some of you may know John, the Calusa waterkeeper. Been around forever. He has retired. He's now emeritus. You'll see that in the promo. John is emeritus. But along with him is Greg Colley, who is the executive director of the War School. Bob Moore, who is really into much of what can be done to improve the climate, how individual people can get involved in it, the use of solar panels and so on. And Moore and anyway, the objective behind it is to really get the folks to understand what's going on with the water quality and environment issues that are taken care of within the and encourage the people that show up there to really get involved, get engaged, to form groups on their own, let people know that are in agencies or in government or in power somehow that they are really concerned about what's happening to our water quality, because it is not good. It is not good. So we should be able to do things that really, there's some low-hanging fruit where you can immediately do things without a whole lot of fanfare, and that's our position. Once the forum is over, then the Engage Estero will be talking to these players and others to form a coalition to, in fact, identify what we can do, either with the people in the community or on our own, in our own organization, to start to improve the environment and water quality. So that's one thing's coming. Second thing, as I mentioned, the gentleman in the back, if this is successful, and we believe it is, we're going to hold at least 4 or 5 public forums a year, and we'll pick certain topics that will come from you. It'll be very clear it's what the public is very much interested in, and we're going to provide it for them. Now, there are other organizations that are doing this. We think we have an opportunity to support those other organizations as well. So that's, again, it goes back to the comments I made to the gentleman in the back about the meetings and where we're going to be spending our time. So we will, in fact, make some decisions as to how that's going to go in the future. But never fear, it'll be right when it's finished. Engage Estero does kick off February 1st, but it's being used now throughout our organization. People know all about it. We've let people know that that's what's taking place. At the last meeting, I did a whole 15, 20-minute presentation on it. I was very happy to see the response. It was very positive, and we're happy to see that. And we're getting more and more of a very positive response on it. During the month of February, in addition to a media blast, we're going to have a meeting of representatives, invite them to a breakfast or lunch or something, and kick off the Engage Estero organization live, and let people come in and ask questions about it and so on. We estimate that it will probably take 6 months to a year before people get have an understanding of what Engage Estero is, even though we don't have it formally ECCL for a while. We don't know that, but it's a transition, and it'll take some time. That will happen, but we really see good things happening down the road. You all know that at one time, the ECCL was a 501c4 organization. They could get involved with politics. They could endorse candidates. They could do that kind of thing. And they had to do that during those days. That was the right thing to do. We're not doing that. We are absolutely an apolitical organization. We will not endorse candidates. We will not do any of those kinds of things that we've done before. It's not in our best interest to do that. To do what we're talking about, getting people engaged, is to stay away as much as possible from that kind of perception. So it became a 501c3. That took place about a year ago. That opens the door for grants. So I was talking about him trying to get grants. We're going to be doing that as well. The other major thing that's come out of this whole process of looking at ourselves and coming to terms with our purposes and our mission and our aspirations is that we've learned we cannot do this ourselves. So part of what our mantra is going to be is to form coalition. This public forum is a part of that as well. So that when there is an issue that has to be discussed, it isn't simply an Engage Estero that's doing the discussion. It's a number of organizations who have come together with Engage Estero, each bringing something to the table and letting the public know what's happening, so they can make decisions on what should be done going forward, how much they want to get involved in the issues, and so on. So it's going to be sort of a new day, but on the other hand, it's not that new, because the ECCL has been doing a lot of this all along. The issue with what village was established 8 years ago, the question, it begs the question, what's the ECCL going to do? What are they going to do, et cetera? So we've come to terms with answering that. What you're hearing now, and what you're hearing over the next months, quite some time. So I wanted to just raise that at the back of this, and then offer the opportunity for any other questions on this or any other issue. Anybody have any thoughts about anything?
So just to follow up on the Florida Gulf Coast Veterans thing, same thing, with our organization. To get that into our communities.
Right.
And again, the representatives, most of them have a newsletter or something where we can put a little blurb in there, about us and what we're doing, and I think that would go a long way. Because, we're in a community, like I said, Bellatera with 2,000 north, and I know a great percentage of them, don't know what ECCL was.
Well, you've heard this before, at least I'm sure. The way to get them to understand is to get their email addresses.
I know.
I don't know how to make it any clearer. Yes, sir.
I agree wholeheartedly with the gentleman over here. Let us make the decision. And back a couple of years ago, you asked us to give all of our information. I've been run out of town. Because there are people, even as president of the association, I had to make sure that I did not publish their email in any association communication. So that is the reason for the pushback. But I wholeheartedly, in fact, when I think about it, there are items that have come up that I have asked my property manager to distribute to the ownership through an email blast or in the newsletter. We probably would use the email blast, announcing a forum, things like that. I think that's the direction we should be going. That's productive. And that doesn't really offend anybody. And I'm not saying they have a reason to be offended, but that's the real world out there.
Well, I agree with you. I understand what you're saying, and what Ray suggested is what a number of representatives do. Unfortunately, it's not a large number.
I think we should put the whole focus on the representatives and lobby them, if you will. I can't think of a better word to do that, because I agree with that.
It's probably a combination. When we asked for the email addresses, 4 communities gave them to us. It was nothing. It was no big deal. They went to just ask for them. They got them by law. They have to get it within that community to get all the email addresses you want by law. So they went and they got it, and it helped us increase dramatically the amount of direct communication we're having with people in the community, rather than particularly hoping that a representative is going to follow through on that. We know that doesn't take place. We know. So you could do it, Ray could do it. A lot of folks can do it. A lot are not doing it.
Well, only 4 associations gave you the information out of what? How many we got? 40, 48?
75 neighborhoods, we have actual gated communities, former homeowners association.
That's
probably about 35.
Yeah.
Gated communities, some of them aren't gated.
About 35.
35.
Yeah, but
I'm just trying to give you the input about what I think would work, and I agree with Ray.
I'm not suggesting that what he said is wrong. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if you want to get to the people, if we want to get messages to the people, there are times when we need to get to the people, because we cannot rely simply on the representatives. It's just the way it is.
Let me explain. This has nothing to do with the ECCL or anybody here. I don't know how many people want to have a shredder at the mailbox. They're getting enough email, junk email. They're getting enough. We get more junk mail in the mailbox than we do things that we can use. And the same is true with emails. I delete a third, at least, if not a half of the emails that come in. You block them, and there are companies that they can get around it. It's very annoying. I like the philosophy of what you're doing. I'm supporting that. I just think that we've got to, I can put out an email blast easily to 842 units. I'm small compared to the other gentleman over here, but those that are interested will read it.
Of course.
And as soon as I see, I tell you, the last couple of 3 years, as soon as I said ECCL, even at a board meeting, people just put their head down. So I know that I still gave the report, I still make the communication, and there are a percentage of those 842 people that are interested in that for this organization or any organization to send it to all 842 when they've got their mind made up before you get there. I think the good idea is let us deal with our communication.
I'm not suggesting that it's a bad idea. What I'm saying is there are other means to make us more successful in communicating to the residents of the Sparrow. That's all. Yes.
Do you guys have a Facebook group?
Yes.
That could be a good.
Oh, we do. We have social media. We're on social media.
Where you can post it.
Yeah.
Upcoming
Yeah,
events.
we do.
I encourage people to use it.
Yeah.
I use it.
Yeah, it's good. Are there any other questions or issues or comments at all? Yeah.
I just mentioned the town meeting the other day, Dave Williams had gone down to a legislative meeting in Fort Myers and asked for $60 million to improve the sewers, septic sewer transition of the homes that were hurt. And I thought that was a great move on the part of
You say you got it.
he asked for it. First gotta ask.
I guess you gotta ask first.
That's good information too. A lot of that. Okay, well, since it's all the questions, thanks very much, folks.
Just a comment, that Lou and I were at that meeting, the town meeting, workshop meeting or whatever, and I thought it was very good. Our people did make some presentations. Terry made presentations, and so I think we were heard. Like Terry said, both sides were heard. If there was sides.
We're talking about the council meeting.
Yes, the council meeting, yeah. And it was a full house. It was a well attended. So,
I watched it.
Lou made the other.
yeah, who made the presentation, yeah.
Okay, on that, meeting adjourned. Thanks for coming.
Okay.